Imagine holding $136 million in your bare hands. It is a weight that could crush empires or buy absolute freedom. Now imagine walking out of one of the most heavily guarded luxury hotels on the planet with that exact fortune. You do not run. You do not panic. You simply vanish into the glaring Mediterranean sunlight. This is not a Hollywood script. This is the reality of July 28, 2013. The location is the glamorous Carlton Cannes Hotel, situated on the iconic Croisette Boulevard. The French Riviera is buzzing with billionaires and celebrities enjoying the peak of summer. Yet right under their noses, a lone ghost is about to execute the most audacious heist of the modern century. He needs no army. He needs no explosives. He only requires a perfectly timed window of opportunity and nerves of absolute steel. A single man, wearing a cap and a scarf across his face, walks through a set of French doors. It is broad daylight. Security guards are stationed throughout the venue. High-definition cameras capture every angle of the extravagant Leviev Diamond House exhibition. The trap is seemingly completely deadly for any thief. But this mastermind knows something the security experts do not. He understands that the illusion of safety is the greatest vulnerability. Drawing a semi-automatic handgun, he quietly dominates the room. There is no screaming. There is no chaotic crossfire. He simply issues calm and calculated commands to the terrified staff and guards. Fear is his ultimate weapon, and he wields it with chilling precision. Within mere seconds, 72 pieces of extreme wealth are swept into a simple briefcase. We are talking about flawless diamonds and magnificent emeralds, alongside exceptionally rare sapphires. The sheer concentration of wealth inside that small bag defies logic. The total value reaches an astronomical figure. $136 million vanish into the abyss of the criminal underworld in less than a minute. To understand the magnitude of this crime, you must look at the statistics. Bank robberies usually net a few $1,000s and require a team of hardened criminals. Major art thefts take months of planning and often end in spectacular failure. Yet here we have a solitary figure achieving the impossible. He completely rewrites the rules of the game right in front of the authorities. The immediate aftermath is a stunning portrait of confusion. The thief steps back out onto the sunlit streets of Cannes. He does not sprint towards a waiting getaway vehicle. He blends perfectly into the bustling crowd of tourists and wealthy vacationers. He becomes just another face in the beautiful chaos of the French Riviera. The local police force is entirely unaware that history has just been made. When the first alarm finally rings, the delay is already fatal for the investigation. Sirens wail across the coastal city, shattering the tranquil summer atmosphere. Heavily armed tactical units swarm the Carlton Cannes Hotel, expecting a violent hostage situation. They burst through the elegant doors, only to find trembling employees and empty display cases. The bird has already flown the incredibly gilded cage. How does someone pull off a job of this legendary scale without firing a single bullet? It demands a psychological profile unlike any ordinary street thug. This is a predator who understands human behavior perfectly. He knows that when faced with cold steel people, will prioritize their lives over insured diamonds. He weaponized compliance and turned the hotel's own security protocols against themselves. The media quickly catches wind of the unbelievable figures. News anchors around the globe struggle to read the teleprompter without showing genuine shock. $136 million stolen by one man in under 60 seconds. The public is instantly captivated by the sheer audacity of the crime. It sounds like a magnificent fiction, but the missing diamonds are a harsh reality. This is not just a story about stolen luxury goods. It is a masterclass in exploiting systemic vulnerabilities. We are going to peel back the layers of this incredible event. We will examine the target, the execution, and the mind of a phantom who managed to outsmart everyone. The greatest trick this thief ever pulled was proving that the perfect crime actually exists. Let us dive deep into the heart of the French Riviera to uncover the truth. Prepare to witness a meticulous breakdown of the Carlton Cannes diamond heist. You will see how arrogance and lax security provided the perfect canvas for a criminal masterpiece. The clock is ticking, and the Phantom is already making his move. Welcome to the greatest heist of the century. To comprehend the absolute brilliance of this heist, we must first explore the stage itself. The Intercontinental Carlton Cannes is not merely a hotel, It is a monument to unimaginable extravagance, standing proudly on the French Riviera. Kings and queens alongside Hollywood elite have walked its opulent corridors for over a century. The building practically breathes old-world wealth and sophisticated exclusivity. Ironically, this very location serves as the backdrop for a famous piece of cinematic history. The legendary director Alfred Hitchcock chose the Carlton for his classic movie To Catch a Thief. In that film, a retired jewel thief tries to clear his name amidst stunning coastal views. Life possesses a dark sense of humor when it mimics art with such devastating accuracy decades later. In the scorching summer of 2013, the hotel hosted a temporary event. The Leviev Diamond House decided to showcase their most breathtaking creations to the public. Owned by a famous billionaire, this company deals exclusively in the rarest gems on the planet. They aim to attract the ultra-rich vacationers who dock their superyachts just a few hundred meters away. Imagine walking into a room radiating with blinding light. Glass display cases housed intricate necklaces glittering with enormous, flawless diamonds. There were rings featuring sapphires the size of small stones, and earrings cascading with vibrant emeralds. The sheer concentration of concentrated capital was staggering. It was an Aladdin cave of modern times placed right in the middle of a bustling tourist destination. For ordinary people looking through the windows, this exhibition represented an unattainable dream. But for an apex predator in the criminal underworld, it looked like an open invitation. A mastermind evaluates wealth differently than the rest of us. Where we see beauty and prestige, they see logistics and vulnerabilities. The immense value concentrated in such a small, poorly defended space was irresistible. The organizers naturally assumed their treasures were perfectly safe. They hired private guards to monitor the room during opening hours. Management believed that the prestigious reputation of the hotel would act as a psychological barrier against any potential thieves. They relied heavily on the concept of deterrence. However, true masterminds are never deterred by reputation or men in cheap suits. Our phantom thief spent time studying the environment meticulously. He noticed a critical architectural flaw that the event planners completely ignored. The exhibition room was located on the ground floor, with direct access to a terrace facing the street. French doors provided a beautifully elegant aesthetic, but they also offered an incredibly convenient escape route. This detail would become the key to his success. Planning a heist of this magnitude requires supreme patience. You do not just kick down the door and grab the loot. The thief likely blended in as a wealthy tourist, observing the shift changes of the guards. He calculated the exact distance from the display cases to the exit. He mapped out the surrounding streets to ensure a seamless vanishing act into the crowds. He also understood the psychology of the security personnel. Private guards facing a sudden lethal threat will almost never risk their lives for corporate insurance policies. The thief bet everything on this fundamental human instinct of self-preservation. He designed a plan devoid of complexity because complex plans fail. Simplicity combined with sheer audacity is the ultimate recipe for a perfect crime. By the morning of July 28th, the stage was perfectly set. The diamonds gleamed under the artificial lights waiting to be claimed. The tourists strolled outside, oblivious to the historic event about to unfold. The invisible clock ticking in the mind of the mastermind reached its final hour. The glamorous facade of the Carlton was about to be shattered in seconds. He pulled the scarf up over his face and adjusted his cap. The weight of the loaded weapon in his pocket provided a chilling reassurance. He was a single shadow, preparing to eclipse an empire of light and luxury. Taking a deep breath, he stepped towards the terrace doors. The greatest heist of the century was no longer a plan, but a terrifying reality. The sun is blazing over the French Riviera at exactly 11:30 in the morning. Inside the Carlton exhibition room, tourists and staff admire the sparkling gems in quiet awe. The atmosphere is relaxed and utterly defenseless against what is about to happen. A figure steps off the bustling croisette and moves toward the glass terrace doors. He moves with a terrifying sense of purpose. He pushes open the doors and crosses the threshold into the realm of unimaginable wealth. There is no dramatic entrance or shouted demands. He simply raises a semi-automatic pistol and lets the cold steel do the talking. The silence in the room instantly shifts from peaceful appreciation to absolute suffocating terror. The Phantom has officially taken the stage. 3 private security guards are present, but they are immediately paralyzed by the sudden threat. The thief does not need to fire a single warning shot to establish absolute dominance. His body language and the unwavering barrel of his gun communicate a very clear message. Comply immediately or die for someone else's insured inventory. It is a brilliant psychological checkmate. With his left hand, he produces a nondescript bag and approaches the primary display tables. He forces the terrified staff to open the unlocked cases and hand over the treasures. He works with the mechanical efficiency of a factory machine. There is no hesitation as he grabs diamond necklaces and sapphire pendants. Millions of dollars are swallowed by the dark fabric of his bag every single second. Time distorts violently in situations of extreme distress. For the hostages, those fleeting moments feel like agonizing hours trapped in a nightmare. But for the thief, every millisecond is perfectly calibrated. He knows exactly how long it takes for a silent alarm to trigger a police response. He dances flawlessly on the razor-thin edge of that critical 60-second window. You must admire the sheer brutal simplicity of his entire operational strategy. Forget about high-tech laser grids or elaborate underground tunneling schemes. This man recognized that the most direct path is often the most successful one. He walked through an unlocked door in broad daylight and simply took what he wanted. He weaponized the arrogance of the security planners against them. The massive haul includes a spectacular diamond pendant weighing over 50 carats alone. He systematically clears the most valuable pieces while ignoring the lesser items. He is not just greedy, but highly selective and deeply knowledgeable about his target. He knows precisely which stones will fetch the highest prices on the black market. This is a surgical strike disguised as a brazen robbery. Suddenly, a bag containing 72 pieces of legendary jewelry is full. The total value is an incomprehensible $136 million. The thief secures his enormous prize and slowly backs toward the exit. He keeps his weapon leveled at the frozen security guards, ensuring no one makes a foolish, heroic attempt. The silence in the room is entirely absolute. He slips back out through the very same terrace doors he entered just moments ago. The scorching Mediterranean sun embraces him as he steps onto the crowded pavement. He lowers his weapon into his pocket and adjusts his posture. Instantly, the terrifying armed robber dissolves into the sea of tourists. The Phantom has successfully pulled off the ultimate vanishing act. Inside the exhibition room, the panic finally breaks through the paralyzing shock. Staff members scramble for the phones and smash the emergency buttons. But the mastermind is already a ghost haunting the busy streets of Cannes. He has just executed the largest jewel heist in French history without spilling a single drop of blood. It is a masterpiece of criminal engineering. Sirens finally pierce the heavy summer air of Cannes. Heavily armed tactical police units descend upon the Carlton Hotel with roaring engines and flashing lights. They secure the perimeter, anticipating a violent standoff with a heavily armed syndicate. Instead, they find shattered nerves and empty display cases. The reality of the situation hits the seasoned detectives like a physical blow. The authorities immediately lock down the city, but it is a futile gesture. A dragnet is cast across the French Riviera, searching for a phantom who has already evaporated. The initial investigation quickly exposes the glaring flaws in the exhibition security protocols. The organizers had failed to inform the local police about the event, or the astronomical value of the jewels on display. The level of negligence was staggering. The hotel management relied entirely on a handful of unarmed private guards. Furthermore, the terrace doors were completely unlocked and unguarded from the outside. These cascading failures created a perfect storm of vulnerability. The thief did not need to be a technological genius. He only needed to observe the utter lack of basic security measures and strike. As the sheer scale of the $136 million loss becomes clear, panic sets in. Investigators frantically review the hotel security footage, hoping for a critical mistake. They watch the robbery unfold in grainy high definition. The thief moves with a terrifying calm that sends chills down the spines of veteran profilers. This was not an amateur getting lucky. The execution was too smooth, and the target was too specific. The French police immediately connect the dots to a legendary syndicate known to intelligence agencies worldwide. Whispers of the infamous Pink Panthers begin to circulate through the precinct. This shadowy international network of jewel thieves is notorious for lightning-fast raids and military precision. The profile fits the crime perfectly. Originating from the Balkans, the Pink Panthers are considered the apex predators of the diamond world. They have terrorized luxury boutiques across Europe and Asia for decades. Their trademark is the smash-and-grab tactic executed with overwhelming speed and ruthlessness. However, this lone wolf approach at the Carlton represents a terrifying evolution in their operational playbook. The global manhunt intensifies as Interpol issues red notices across international borders. Detectives trace every known associate and monitor the dark web for any chatter regarding the stolen gems. The pressure from the French government and the furious insurance companies is immense. Millions of dollars are spent tracking down leads that vanish into thin air. The investigation becomes a desperate race against time. Despite the vast resources deployed, the authorities constantly find themselves 2 steps behind. The thief left absolutely no forensic evidence at the scene. There are no fingerprints and no discarded clothing. The security footage shows a man entirely concealed by a simple cap and a scarf. He successfully weaponized anonymity, making it impossible to identify a face or trace a getaway vehicle. To move such high-profile diamonds requires a highly sophisticated illicit network. You cannot simply pawn a 50-carat flawless gem at a local shop. The stones must be smuggled across borders and recut by corrupt jewelers to disguise their origin. This complex laundering process is exactly where investigators hope to catch the syndicate, making a fatal error. They wait for a slip. Weeks turn into months, and the trail grows frustratingly cold. The initial adrenaline of the chase is replaced by a grim realization. The police are chasing a ghost who planned his exit strategy just as meticulously as his entrance. The Pink Panthers are known for their disciplined silence and their ability to melt back into ordinary society. The stolen diamonds seem lost forever. The frustration among law enforcement is palpable. They have the motive and the suspected organization, but zero actionable intelligence. Every promising lead eventually evaporates like water on hot asphalt. The brilliant simplicity of the heist continues to mock the combined efforts of European intelligence agencies. The invisible mastermind has successfully engineered an impenetrable wall of silence around his magnificent crime. The Carlton heist exposes a bitter truth about the world of high-stakes security. Even the most fortified castles can fall if the guards leave the back door wide open. As the investigation grinds to a painful halt, the world watches in disbelief. A solitary figure has completely humiliated the system and walked away with a king's ransom. Years have passed since that blazing summer day in Cannes. The stolen diamonds from the Carlton Hotel remain a glaring void in the records of international law enforcement. The sheer magnitude of the loss continues to haunt the investigators who dedicated their careers to this case. They are forced to accept a bitter reality that defies their pursuit of justice. The Phantom truly won. The insurance companies suffered an unprecedented financial catastrophe that sent shockwaves through the global diamond industry. Payouts reaching tens of millions of dollars forced a complete restructuring of how luxury exhibitions operate. Today, you will never see such a massive concentration of wealth secured by just a few unarmed guards. The arrogant days of relying solely on a prestigious reputation are officially over forever. The Carlton heist forced event organizers to adopt military-grade security protocols for all future high jewelry showcases. Armed tactical units and armored vehicles are now the standard baseline. The tragic irony is that these massive, expensive changes were triggered by a single man with a simple handgun. His devastatingly simple plan exposed a systemic rot that no one else was willing to acknowledge. Where are those magnificent gems now? Experts believe the larger, flawless stones were immediately flown out of Europe via private jets. Once safely hidden in illicit underground workshops, they were ruthlessly cut into smaller, unrecognizable pieces. The unique identities of the diamonds were erased forever. They likely now adorn the necks of oblivious buyers in distant markets, effectively dissolving the stolen wealth into legitimate economies. The investigation remains officially open, but the files are gathering dust in police archives. The legendary Pink Panthers syndicate was never formally charged with the Carlton operation. If they were indeed responsible, it stands as their crowning achievement. They prove that an army is entirely unnecessary when a single brilliant operative can exploit human psychology and terrible architectural choices with absolute surgical precision. We are left with a chilling conclusion about the nature of security and modern crime. We build towering fortresses of glass and steel, outfitting them with countless high-definition cameras. We hire armies of guards to stand menacingly at the doors. Yet a predator with enough patience and a deep understanding of our blind spots can tear it all down in 60 seconds. This is the ultimate legacy of the incredible $136 million heist. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that absolute security is merely an illusion we sell ourselves. The system is only as strong as its weakest link. In the opulent halls of the French Riviera, that fatal weak link was the blinding arrogance of extreme wealth itself. Somewhere in the world, a man is living a life of unimaginable luxury and total freedom. He does not need to look over his shoulder because he knows he left absolutely nothing behind. He engineered a puzzle that was deliberately designed to have no solution. He beat the authorities and the insurance empires at their own sophisticated game without firing a single shot. We often believe that crime does not pay and that the bad guys eventually face justice. The story of the Carlton Hotel robbery shatters that comforting moral narrative completely. It stands as a dark monument to criminal genius and meticulous planning. Sometimes the villain walks away into the sunset carrying a briefcase heavy enough to buy the rest of his life in paradise. As the sun sets over the beautiful Croisette, the Carlton Hotel remains a sparkling beacon of high society. Tourists still gather outside, dreaming of the wealth hidden behind its majestic walls. But the ghosts of July 28th linger in the shadows. They whisper a constant reminder that perfection is rare, but the perfect crime is terrifyingly real.